Okay, so picture this. You pull into a spot, walk up to the parking meter, and scan the QR code to pay. It's, just a totally ordinary Tuesday. But 10 seconds later, somewhere on the completely opposite side of the planet, a stranger you've literally never met just got the ability to read your private text messages, drain your bank app, and lock you out of your own email. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking the invisible hijack happening right under our noses in public spaces. You didn't download a thing, you didn't click allow on some sketchy pop-up, you literally just scanned a square. And that is exactly what we're breaking down today.
So let's dive into this genuine modern mystery. Think about it. We've spent the last decade rigorously training ourselves to be hyper-suspicious of weird links, right? Badly spelled emails, those flashing "you've won a free iPhone" pop-ups. We absolutely know how to spot those digital traps. But a printed sticker on a lamppost or a code on a restaurant table, it just looks harmless. It's literally just a black and white pattern. So how on earth does a printed piece of paper actually take control of a $1,000 smartphone?
Well, the stakes here are incredibly high, and honestly, the speed is frankly terrifying. 10 seconds. That is all it takes. And what's really wild is that this happens without you, the victim, actively doing anything risky. It doesn't rely on brute forcing your phone's complex firewalls. No, it relies on the simple fact that you think you're just paying for parking or, checking a lunch menu. You aren't interacting with a sketchy hacker in a hoodie. You're interacting with what you assume is just a normal piece of public infrastructure. To really get how this works, we need to take a hard look at the weapon of choice.
Section 1. Unmasking the weapon. What exactly is a QR code?
A lot of people kind of assume a QR code is this complex program or a mini app or some sort of magical tech. Actually, scratch that. It's none of those. Underneath that weird jumble of black squares is literally just a standard website address, just encoded visually instead of written out in letters. That is the whole trick. Your phone's camera reads the pattern and just automatically opens whatever web address is hiding inside. It is, at its core, a shortcut. And shortcuts, by their very definition, force you to skip steps. Specifically, the exact steps where your critical thinking normally kicks in.
Think about it like this. When you manually type a web address, say Amazon.com, your brain has a crucial second to process what you're doing, right? You see the letters, you know exactly where you're going, you verify the destination. But scanning a QR code? That entire mental verification process happens completely invisibly. You don't see the web address before your phone initiates the jump. You're essentially blindly trusting a machine to take you somewhere safe, based on nothing but a pattern of squares that, let's be real, literally anyone could have generated on their laptop in about 5 seconds. It's an invisible leap of faith, and that leap is the exact opening these attackers walk straight through.
Moving on to Section 2, Anatomy of the Attack, and how the physical and digital traps are actually set.
So, the whole thing starts right here in the physical world. The scammer just prints out a QR code sticker that looks absolutely identical to an official one. Maybe it's for a city parking app or an EV charging station, and they just physically stick it right on top of the real one. That's it. You walk up, you see a QR code exactly where you expect a QR code to be, and you just scan it without a second thought. Because really, why would you suspect it? It's in the right place, it's at the right height, it's doing the exact job it's supposed to do. But it's a physical trap designed to silently redirect you away from the legitimate company and straight into a perfectly faked digital clone.
And man, once that fake web page loads, the real danger begins. A lot of folks think the only risk is accidentally typing your credit card into a fake phishing site, but that is only half the story. The much bigger danger is what modern smartphone browsers can be tricked into quietly doing in the background. These pixel-perfect fake websites immediately try to trigger all sorts of hidden prompts. You might see a pop-up saying, "Allow location to find nearby parking." Seems totally normal, right? But boom, now they're tracking your movements. Or it says, "Install app to view menu." But that quote-unquote app is actually a fake program designed to sit quietly on your phone and just watch everything you do. They can even connect you to a malicious Wi-Fi network without you even realizing it, turning what looks like a free internet connection into a total surveillance tool. So knowing all this insane digital danger is out there, why are incredibly smart, careful people falling for these simple squares every single day? Well, it all comes down to psychology.
Which brings us to Section 3, the trap of borrowed trust. Why smart people fall for simple squares.
Here's the thing. Your brain automatically borrows trust from the environment around it. Think about it. If you saw a random QR code printed on a sticker just sitting on your kitchen counter, you'd be super suspicious, right? You'd be like, who put this here?
But a QR code on an official-looking city parking sign, or on a massive poster inside a secure train station, you aren't really trusting the QR code itself, you're trusting the parking meter, you're trusting the city's infrastructure. The scammer hasn't earned your trust at all, they are simply hijacking the trust you already have for that physical environment. And the craziest part? They're doing it completely for free.
To really picture this, consider how this exact same psychological trick works in the physical world. Think about a fake charity collector. If someone throws on a bright, highly official-looking neon vest and grabs a clipboard, they can walk into almost any public event and collect real cash from real people. Why? Because the vest looks official. The QR code scam operates on that exact same principle of borrowed authority. The code itself has absolutely zero credibility. It only works because of what it happens to be sitting on top of.
And we definitely can't ignore the context in which these scans usually happen. An attacker's absolute best friends? Speed and urgency. Just put yourself in that situation. You're pulling into a spot, there's traffic moving behind you, you're stressed about getting a ticket, and you just want to pay the meter in the next 90 seconds so you can sprint to your meeting. Literally no one is carefully inspecting a website's security certificates when they're in a rush. Scammers know this. They skip the complex malware installations entirely because they know if they just present a really convincing fake login page to a person in a hurry, that person is probably going to hand over their information willingly.
All right, Section 4. 4 habits for protection and how to defend your device out in public.
The good news here is that defeating these traps is actually incredibly straightforward. Here are your 4 golden rules. Number 1, physically check the code. Before you scan, literally just run your finger over it. Does it feel like a sticker stuck on top of the real sign? Uneven edges or a weird bump underneath is a massive red flag. Number 2, read the URL. When your phone previews the website address, actually take a second to read it before tapping open. A real parking company is definitely not going to have a web address ending in a random string of weird letters and numbers. Number 3, permission awareness. If you scan a menu code at a restaurant and it asks for access to your contacts or your location, stop immediately. A legitimate burger menu does not need to know where you live. And number 4, which is honestly perhaps the most underrated habit of all, if you are ever unsure, just don't scan it. Open your browser and type the business name into your search engine manually or just use their official app. Yes, I know it cost you 10 extra seconds, but as we've seen today, taking those 10 seconds can literally save you weeks of untangling stolen accounts and locked devices.
Ultimately, you have to remember that QR codes themselves are not inherently dangerous. They're really just a messenger, right? A super simple piece of visual tech with absolutely no motives of its own. The danger was actually never really about the code, it's about the fact that we've collectively trained ourselves to just inherently trust anything that looks official without ever pausing to ask who put it there in the first place. That human habit, that is the real vulnerability they're exploiting.
Which brings us to our final thought. The very next time you're standing in front of a QR code, whether it's on a parking meter, a restaurant table, or a poster at the train station, I want you to pause for just 1 single second. Look closely at the code and ask yourself this one powerful question. Do I actually know who put this here, or am I just blindly trusting Square? Keep that in mind, stay vigilant out there, and thanks for joining me on this explainer.